like a furry blah blah blah. If you enjoy Draw and Paint What You Regret on YouTube and would like to show your support, you can find Cash App and Venmo information below. By all means, this channel is free to watch and learn from. Enjoy! Hey everyone, so I am back with another demo. So this tutorial is for my Abstract Drawing 1 students. So my Abstract Drawing 1 students project is pretty much going to go over, or at least we're going to use the element of texture, as well as we're going to use the principle of emphasis or scale. So I think it's very important to understand why you should try to produce non-objective art with some of these principles and also elements, because really that's what we have to use, or that is what we're using. So it's always good to think about it in that way. So when it comes to the elements of art and the principles of design, it's always good to learn them, understand how to use them in a composition, and how to produce artwork with them, because no matter if you're doing representational art, or if you're doing abstract art, or if you're doing non-objective art, these are pretty much the vocab and the grammar you're going to be using in your composition. So when it comes to some of the things that we're doing this week for project 4, since we are using texture, I'm going over the different types of textures. I'm sure that there are more than just this when it comes to texture that is available, but these are the 4 types that I know, or at least you could say 4 types of categories I believe that they lean under, or what umbrella they're under, if that makes sense. So when it comes to actual texture is just that. If I take this paintbrush that is here, and if we are looking at the different textures, we have hairy hair. You might as well say it's hair, because I know it's synthetic, or it could be natural, I'm not 100% sure. But we have hair that's here, so we already know that that's an actual texture that we can feel, touch, bend, do whatever with it. And then if we look at the barrel, and we also look at the attachment of the brush to the handle, this is a shiny chrome-like material or texture, and then the barrel is just a smooth texture as well. So this is actual texture. I can turn this around, I can walk around and look at it, I can touch it, I can see that there's at least 3 different types of texture to this actual brush. So this is actual texture. Now when it comes to implied texture, when we are drawing, since this is a drawing class, we are doing that, we are implying texture. So it's not actual texture, we're actually applying texture. So when it comes to implying texture, so when it comes to implying texture, we are given the illusion or the lie of actual texture. Possibly we could be doing that, or we can be given the illusion or the lie of abstract texture when it comes to implied, or we can be given the illusion or a lie to subversive texture if we're trying to do that when it comes to implied texture. Because like I said, if you're drawing something or drawing texture, that's already implied texture. So I wanted to talk about that, because drawing any type of texture pretty much fall under implied texture. When it comes to abstract texture, right, so we have abstract texture, it's just that it's an abstraction of whatever actual texture you are seeing. So it's probably a bit distorted, not 100% accurate, but we understand what it is, but it's just an abstraction of it. Same thing when it comes to subversive. Subversive is the opposite of what we may think an actual texture is. So for example, if let's say I don't know, buy a glass cup, and let's say I decide I want to wrap felt around this glass cup, right? Once I wrap that felt fabric around the cup, I have changed the actual texture of the cup. And typically we don't think of a cup as or having a felt fabric texture. Or it could be, maybe we want to put furry fabric around the cup. We know that our actual senses for texture, whether we're seeing it or touching it, we know that that is not common, right? So that is subversive texture. As soon as I get my vocabulary right and together, not the mouth out of my mouth properly, but that gives you an idea for that. So these are the different types of textures, or at least I would say umbrellas or categories that they fall under. I believe there could be more, but these are the ones that I actually just know just over time of teaching and actually just being a student. So also I'm going to go over with project 4 is triangular composition, horizontal composition, as well as diagonal composition. So when it comes to project 4, students have the option. We already know that the element is going to be texture, but they have the option of choosing emphasis or scale. And typically we may end up falling under this or doing both of these without even having to choose an option. It would typically would happen. But also they have the option of choosing what actual texture or what type of texture they want to use. And then I want them to, at very least, use one composition structure. So a triangular structure or a triangular composition structure, it's just that. And as you can see here, I did a squared format and I also put a triangle within that composition because I wanted a more, how would you say, straightforward idea for a triangular composition. But it doesn't necessarily have to look like, it more so can imply a triangle shape within a composition. I guess you could say it that way. Same thing with horizontal composition. If you look at this composition, it's a horizontal composition. So I'm going to go over that in class when I lecture that. Diagonal composition, that could be anything that is diagonal. So if I took this shape, drew it in this composition diagonally, that would be a diagonal composition. So my students pretty much will have the option to do or to use any of these ideas, concepts, themes, so on and so forth. When it comes to their actual project, I just wanted to explain my ideas and what I am putting down for my demo. And I'm going to keep this demo fairly simple if I possibly can, because I don't want to make it too intricate to where it's just a long video. Once again, it's just that it's a demo, it's a tutorial. That way students have an idea what they should do with their project. Really quick, I definitely want to talk about some of the materials that I'm going to use, because the past few videos have been forgetting. So I always have to pop in with some type of voiceover, but I'm still probably going to pop in with a voiceover when I do my artwork. So what I am using, of course, is a ruler for my composition today, as well as I am using a Prismacolor erase pencil. I like using these because if I'm drawing and I'm, you know, rubbing my palm anywhere, actually, because it's a color pencil, it doesn't really smear. So I tend to pick these up before I pick up a graphite pencil. As well as something that's different, I am going to use marker paper, because students do have the option to use markers, or they're going to have the option to use graphite in their composition. So I decided to use markers for this. And of course, markers. So I'm using my Prismacolor Prismacolor grayscale markers. So I have bullet tip and also the chisel tip. So I'm using this as well. So I decided, because the last time I used these, I did not use marker paper and I was not a fan of the streaks that I was seeing. So hopefully this time we're using marker paper, I don't run into the streaks. But this is really good, once again, for projects if you want to have a grayscale when it comes to markers. This is a very, very old box, but they are still working, so I'm proud of that. So enough of rambling, you guys. Just to get just a quick intro down, that way you know what this process entails, or at least you know how to start the project, what are ideas you need to get down in your sketchbook, thumbnails, so on and so forth. So you guys will see you guys in the next clip and also next video. So bye, you guys. Hey everyone, I just wanted to quickly break, or at least break in just for a bit of this clip, and I just wanted to do a quick voiceover. And really, I've already talked about my materials that I'm going to use, and typically I'll break in if I have not talked about that. But I wanted to talk a bit about my composition. The one thing that I've been telling my students when it comes to doing some of these thumbnails and compositions is that I know when I'm doing my tutorials or demos, I don't really exhaust my ideas. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. When it comes to this composition, I strayed away from the composition just a little bit. Sometimes when I have other ideas, or maybe I made a mistake and I'm just trying to cover up my mistake, I start to add things to my composition if I feel like it needs it. So although I didn't stray away from this composition or my actual thumbnail too much, but I started adding other elements that wasn't quite in the composition towards the end, as well as at the end of the demo, I give a format 1 or a layout 1 and a layout 2, because after I was done, I took a photo of my actual artwork. I actually liked the artwork not so much vertical but horizontal. And what I mean by that, the triangle versus the triangle being the main triangle, versus it being vertical, it would be horizontal. And I really liked the composition that way. So I just wanted to talk a bit about it, because when it comes to exhausting your ideas, you want to do your best to do that. Sometimes it's really hard or difficult when you don't 100% exhaust your ideas and then you still want to change things as you go. Some artists want to do that. Some artists like doing that. They leave things open towards the end for change, and it's okay to do that if you want to do that. But also sometimes just have an idea early in what you're doing, because you don't want to start changing things and then you don't like things as you're going. So it's always good to just play around with your artwork, especially when it's non-objective. There's rules, but then there's not rules. Those rules are able to be broken, and that's the one thing that I absolutely love about art, is that although you learn the rules, you can definitely break them over time. So I just wanted to pop in and talk about that as I'm editing and looking over everything. I just wanted to make sure that I am giving my students a little bit of feedback of what I'm looking at when I'm producing some of this work as well. Other than that, you guys, stay tuned to the end, because that way you can see layout 1 or layout 2, and you can get an idea. You can get an idea of which layout you like, and if you want to, you can comment on this video and just leave a comment saying which one you like, layout 1 or layout 2. Other than that, you guys, I will see you guys in the next video, in the next clip. Bye, guys.